Hello, everybody. What a pleasure, as always, to be with you with the American Society. Thanks to Larry Rubin, our magnificent super president. And they say that a man who can dominate a London dinner table can dominate the world. So they say. And with me today, Xavier Lablaude is the general manager of Belmont Cadogan in London. And Lablaude boasts over 25 years of international hospitality, experiencing this role, having worked in a number of five-stars property in France, North America, before taking up his position in Cape Town. That's where we met, my dear Xavier. And now Lablaude is leading the super Belmont Hotel, New Heights, under the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy umbrella, this luxury French goods group, which acquired the Belmont portfolio in 2018 for over $2 billion. And Lablaude joined the 54-bedroom hotel in London after being in Belmont's Mount Nelson Hotel in Cape Town, where we had great time in South Africa, and where he worked for almost 10 years as a general manager. Also, previously, Xavier worked as general manager, director of sales and marketing at Hotel La Cité in Carcassonne, France. There's my friend Gérard Bertrand, which I love, and assistant general manager at Hawks Cay Resort in Florida. And the Cadogan reopened under Belmont management in February 2019, following a 4-year of $28 million renovation. It's so good to have you tonight, Xavier, here with us.
Deby, it's a pleasure to be with you.
It's my pleasure, and really thank you for the lovely time we spend in beautiful Belmont, Cadogan in London. And Robert Corrin, Divisional Senior Vice President, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, said Xavier is an intuitive, hands-on leader with a proven track record running successful luxury hotels operation that put the guest experience front and center, and I know you do. And during his 10-year tenure, Mount Nelson has garnered growing international acclaim, thanks to a large extent to Xavier's innate understandings of Belmont's strategic vision. And he said that they are delighted that Xavier will now lead Belmont's latest portfolio addition, located in the all-important flagship city of London, as the Cadogan and our company continue to reach new heights under the Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy umbrella. That's what he said.
That was very kind of him.
Well, and I'm sure it's right. And how did you start this super adventure, Xavier, in this beautiful hotel business?
How did I start? Oh, it started many moons ago, and I've always been interested in hospitality. There's a lot of people that are in hospitality, and they've chosen hospitality because of their parents being in the business. None of my parents were in the business, but I was lucky to be able to travel with my family, because my father moved around the world quite a lot. He worked for Exxon, and so I was privileged to be able to go around the world and to stay in different hotels, and I was always curious about hospitality, about the hotels. I remember when I was a young kid, being in the back of the car. My parents always had a Michelin guide, so I used to always read the Michelin guide, and when we went through different cities, tried to spot out the hotels that I could read on the Michelin guide. So I was always attracted to the business. And so when I finished high school, I decided to study hotel management, and went to university in America, and studied and got a bachelor's degree in hospitality. So it's ever since that, I've always stayed in hospitality. The only time that I had a bit of a break was when I did my military service. When I came back from university in France, I had to do 1 year of military service, which was quite the culture shock after being in America and being and having done a fair amount of internships in the luxury hospitality. But it was a good experience as well. So it's good to go back down to earth. And then when I finished my military service, I started working. I did a few internships in a few hotels in Paris, whether it's the Hawaiian Monceau, which is now the Raffles, or I worked also at Hotel de Trémoille, which at the time was part of Trust House Forte. and it's a smaller hotel located right between the Place Athénée and Georges V, so more intimate, about 100 rooms. And there, I was fortunate at the time we had Orson Welles that goes a long time. Orson Welles, that was one of our residents
Oh,
at the hotel. And then I worked also. I did a few internships in America, and then I started my career at the Méridien in Paris. And the Méridien at the time was part of Air
you're fine.
France. So it was a very big hotel, so a very good learning experience. We had 1,000 rooms. At the time, there was 4 restaurants, 2 bars, one of them being a jazz club, also a discotheque. So it was a very, very lively property. And also when it comes to the food and beverage, they had some very good food and beverage. There was a 2-star Michelin restaurant at the time called the Clos Longchamp. There was also, we had one of the first Japanese restaurants in Paris.
Wow.
So it was a very nice experience, and there I worked at the reception, then I became a front desk supervisor, and then after I became a assistant manager, which was interesting because there's always something happening in a hotel which is so big, and when you're an assistant manager, you have a lot of responsibility, but not very much power because you don't have your own department. But it was a very good learning experience working the 3 shifts. Then after I had an opportunity to move to Versailles, there's the Trianon Palace was undergoing massive refurbishment, and so I went to the Trianon Palace in Versailles, and I spent a few years in Versailles, and I had different positions. I was the front office manager, then became rooms divisions manager, and then I decided to go into sales a bit. So I was associate director of sales and marketing at the Trianon Palace. And then through my travels at uh, doing different roadshows, and one of the roadshows I did took me to London, and I had an event at the Cadogan Hotel where I'm actually working now. And it's very
Mm.
funny because during the event, I met the general manager of Hawks Cay Resorts, and so we became friends. And he came to visit me in Versailles a year after I met him in London. And he came to Versailles, had a lovely time. And then 3 months after visiting Versailles, he gave me a call saying, "Listen, I have my assistant general manager that's leaving. Would you be interested in joining me in the Florida Keys as my number 2?" And I said, "Okay, fine. It sounds like the brochure looks very nice.
Looks beautiful.
I'd love to go join." And so I went for the interview, and it was a nice project because Hawks Cay Resort is a property which is right in the middle of the Keys. So it's located right between Key Largo and Key West, and the hotel was built in the 60s, and it was built on a 60-acre island. And there was a big project of doing major refurbishments and building some villas uh, on the island, which would be on a rental management program. So they would all be individually owned, and then the hotel would take care of the rental management. So it was a very challenging project because the property remained open, and we built 250 villas when I was there. And
Wow.
so the inventory kept on increasing each week, which was always interesting. And then we added a lot of different pools throughout the resort, as well as a recreation club, kids club, putting green, a new conference center. And so it was a very, very interesting project. And we also refurbished all the hotel rooms. We had 177 hotel rooms. All those were refurbished. So a lot of things happening during the 3 years I was there. And we also had 2 hurricanes during the time that I was there, which is having 2 hurricanes in 3 years is not being very lucky, but that's
What
part of the
really?
game. And so I was there for 3 years. It was a good experience, but then I decided to go back to Europe, and because of my sales background, I saw there was an opportunity through a headhunter to join the Hôtel de la Cité, which is in the south of France.
Carcassonne.
and known for its beautiful medieval walled city. And I was offered the job of director of sales and marketing there. And what really made me want to go to Carcassonne is the fact that the hotel was part of Orient Express. Orient Express is a beautiful company and became Belmont, obviously. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to become part of a hotel, which is part of a chain. And so I joined the Hôtel de la Cité, and there I was director of sales and marketing. Then I became the hotel manager, also in charge of marketing. And then I finished my career at the Hôtel de la Cité as the general manager.
Wow.
And we had in 2008, there was like the major economic crisis that happened throughout the world. And so the company, Orient Express at the time, uh, the cash flow wasn't as good as it should have been. And so a few of the non-core assets were sold. And Hôtel de la Cité was sold in 2011. And and when the hotel was sold, the company offered me a position to go to Cape Town as the general manager. So I moved to Cape Town, which was a fantastic opportunity. So quite diverse when you think of going from Paris to Versailles, Versailles to the Florida Keys to Carcassonne, which is a very small medieval old city, and then after to Cape Town, which is something which is completely different. So in Cape Town, it was a fantastic project. The hotel was is a fantastic property that I love, and the hotel when I arrived was going through a difficult times. It was 2011, and so we were definitely hit with the repercussions of the 2008 economic crisis. And not only that, there was also a excess inventory because a lot of new hotels were built in Cape Town because of the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup that happened. So there was a lot of new competition, the one and only, the Taj, and just to name a few new properties. And the Mount Nelson was kind of considered like a sleeping like a tired sleeping beauty, and so there needed to be some investment made to the hotel. And so throughout my tenure at the Mount Nelson, every winter, because the winter season is often a lot quieter than the summer, obviously, we were able because the property is in a beautiful park. And there's lots of different buildings, so we were able to do the renovations in phases. So out of the 200 rooms that we have at the Mount Nelson, I think 90% of the overall inventory was completely renovated. And not only that, we did all the public area, all the banqueting space, and we modified some of the restaurants. So it was a fantastic time. And then when I was
And
at
that's where I met you, actually.
that's where we met. We met at the Planet Bar.
Yes,
We had a nice glass of
absolutely.
wine together. And
Yes.
then when I was at the Mount Nelson, I had a promotion at one point where I became the area manager. So I also oversaw our three beautiful lodges that we have in Botswana, and those are fabulous lodges in a beautiful country. Botswana is fantastic, and we have three lodges that are quite close to each other, but in three different ecosystems. So the one which is the furthest north is called Savuti Elephant Lodge, is in the Chobe National Park. And then after we have the one which is further south, which is in the Okavango Delta,
Yeah.
which is an incredible location. It's like I think it's the only delta in the world where the water usually deltas always end up by an ocean or a sea, and this is a delta which finishes in the middle of Botswana, and the water just disappears, and it's a beautiful area. It changes each season is quite different with a lot of migration happening with the animals and the birds, and it's just a beautiful, breathtaking sight.
It is, I know. Yeah,
And
it
then
is.
and then I was offered after being almost 10 years in South Africa, and I wanted to go back to Europe, and I had this opportunity to move to London, and I thought this going to a to international city, and going back to Europe was a great opportunity. And so I went to visit the hotel in January 2020, and I was supposed to start in March, but because of COVID, the hotel in London was going to close. I'd been in Cape Town for many years, and so with the hotel closing also in Cape Town, with my knowledge of the country, we decided for me to stay in Cape Town for the first few months of COVID. And then since the hotel in London was going to reopen in August 2020, I moved to London in August 2020 for the reopening of the hotel.
Hotel. That is a beautiful, super career. And actually also Hugh Seaborn, chief executive of Cadogan, which owns the property, said, the Cadogan has a colorful history and a wonderful future. Belmont has proven to be the perfect partner for us to preserve its unique heritage and character, while evolving into a true retreat for today's luxury traveler and home from home for locals. And he said, we're thrilled that Xavier will be bringing his expertise to bear at a significant moment in the hotel history. And we very much look forward to welcoming our guests back. So, I mean, you've done a great job, great career. And, you know, London has so much to offer. And I've been reading that somebody said that it's a truly dynamic city with fantastic culinary, cultural, and sporting events. And it is impossible to be bored in London. And I agree. Tell me about luxury today, Xavier. Is it perceived the same as always? Is it different? Are we looking, we the travelers, the guests of your hotel, are looking for different experience, different moments than in the past?
First of all, I have to say I'm very lucky because this is one of the properties where most of the properties with Belmont are usually owned by Belmont, and this is one of the few properties that's where we have a management contract. So the management contract is that, like you said, the hotel is owned by the Cadogan Estates, and they're wonderful owners, and they're not there only for the money. Of course, everybody wants to make money, but they're not there only for the money. They're here and they renovated the hotel because they really want to make it a flagship in the neighborhood, because the Cadogan Estates, they represent the Cadogan family that owns just about all of Chelsea and all the stores that are on Sloane Street. And so they really want to spend the money and to really make this property like a fantastic property, not only for the international guests, but also for the locals, for all our neighbors.
Actually, yes, I saw in the restaurant so many neighbors, people that live there that were having dinner.
So it's very important for us to be able to cater both to the locals and to our international guests. And luxury, it's a big term, and things are always constantly evolving in luxury. What was considered luxury a few days ago, things do change. And we're lucky here to be on Sloane Street, and Sloane Street is one of the most important shopping streets of the world. And there's two sections. There's the north side, which is close to Knightsbridge, and the south side, which is close to Sloane Square in Chelsea. And we're fortunate to have all the major luxury brands that are present on the street. And one of the projects that the state is doing is also we're doing, it's a 2-year project to renovate or embellish the street. More trees are going to be put on the sidewalks, more planters, and there's also a very sustainable and eco-friendly ambition with both the Cadogan Estates and with Belmont.
It is so. And also I was amazed that each guest has access to Cadogan Place Garden, this private space that only accessible by residents on Cadogan Place, and also this private entrance that you have located on 21st Pond Street, once home to Lily Langtry, one of London's first socialities. So that makes the place even different, and as you call it, a stylish retreat in the heart of Chelsea.
And it's true, like having access to the private gardens is something I wasn't, when I first thought about it, I mean, I wasn't sure how much our guests would really use that, but it's amazing the amount of guests that actually do use the gardens and that do want to go to the gardens, whether it is to, we organize some fantastic picnics. There's also, we have access to 2 tennis courts, which is fabulous to be able to play tennis in the heart of London. And then after we have people that just go there that do their yoga in the gardens, and we're also pet friendly. And so there's 2 sections of the gardens, the north side and the south side. And in the north side of the gardens, our guests can take their pets for walks, which is very nice. And yes, and I think that that private entrance that you mentioned is something which is also very nice to have because we are like a home away from home, and we have a fair amount of repeat guests, even though the hotel has only been reopened since 2019, and we've had almost 2 years of COVID, but we still have a very large number of repeat guests, which is a very good sign, obviously. And and they like to consider this their home because I mean it's very easy when you have 54 keys for our staff to recognize our loyal guests, and having also this private access if the guests want, and to be very incognito is a very nice thing to have, and it's used quite a lot, that private entrance.
I'm sure it is. And you know, my friend, since acquiring Venice iconic Hotel Cipriani in 1976, Belmont has continued to perpetuate the legendary art of travel, taking discerning travelers from around the world on breathtaking journeys, from trains to river barge to safari lodges, where Xavier had been working for so many years. Each unique property offers an unparalleled experience with its own story to tell, and the essence of the Belmont brand is based on its heritage, craftsmanship, genuinity, authentic service, and it is this savoir-faire that, combined with the exquisite sophistication of London, that brings such super magic to Belmont Cadogan. And every moment when I stayed there, that was a few weeks ago, I felt like in an oasis of luxury, sensory delight, immersion in this delightful England capital. And you are located on this prestigious Sloane Street, as you say, this heaven of peace. And everything is seducing with excellence and delicate details in every corner. And it's really a discovery to see every detail that you have in the beautiful Belmont. Well, even Oscar Wilde stayed there for so many days and weeks.
He was arrested. He was arrested at the Cadogan.
I know. I think he was arrested there too.
And actually, he was arrested in room 118, which is now our royal suite. And so when you go into a royal suite, there's a door which still has the number 118 to commemorate the fact that Oscar Wilde was actually arrested in that room, and there's some books by Oscar Wilde that are there as well.
I know, that's some history. And actually, I would say, cheers. This is a wine from Montenegro. I'm here in Montenegro now, but cheers to you. And I remember enjoying a delicious glass of wine with you, Xavier Lablaude, very charismatic general manager there in the beautiful hotel bar at the Belmont Cadogan, which is actually famous for its high tea, but I would go always with wine. And
I agree with you.
yes, wine is great, tea is good, but everybody, different tastes. But really, that moment where they're sitting in your beautiful bar, and I became part of this history of this emblem, super place, and all the details, everything in the design, contemporary art, all the elements that you have, the literary history of the Chelsea area also played part in this redesign, that you have private libraries in each of the rooms that were selected by the nearby bookseller, John Sandu Books, and 600 book bronze sculptures stand in the elevator lobby, and a very opulent library in the restaurant, in the Lali, where we had beautiful dinners. And everything pays homage to the travelers and the Cadogan most famous resident, shows a sociality like Lily Langtry, which was recognized for her beauty, charm. I know she had many admirers. And I loved also, I know food and wine is so important for you, Xavier. And Lali uses these fresh ingredients, traditional recipes from across the continent, and it's elegant, it's classic, and it's beautiful also to see there and see all the crowd. You have many people also that live around that come there for dinner.
Mm-hmm. And what's also important, I mean, I like the fact that you mentioned literature. And yes, we've got a very nice library, nice selection of books that are available throughout the rooms at the hotel. But we also have a fantastic art collection. And so there's about 400 and a bit over 400 unique pieces of art. And what I really think is very nice also is like above all the headboards, we commissioned 5 English women artists to do paintings that fit perfectly above the headboards of each room. And the theme was the gardens, because gardens are always very important throughout Belmont. If you look at all our properties around the world, there's always some fabulous gardens. And like us here in London, again, we're very privileged to have the gardens right across from the hotel. So the art is also a very, very important part of the property.
It makes the property a destination by itself, actually. It does. So when you go to Belmont, Cadogan, you should always remember to visit London, I guess.
That's it.
Well, London opens to you like a novel itself. I was reading this sentence and I love it. It is divided into chapters, the chapters into scenes, the scenes into sentences. It opens to you like a series of rooms, doors, and passages. Mayfair to Piccadilly to Soho to the Strand. This is by Anna Quindin, and I love it. And that is London, and that is the experience of being in the beautiful Belmont Cadogan in London. And Xavier Lablaude, General Manager of the Belmont, really, thank you for the time. Thank you for the days we spend there, the privilege of being with you, having good wine and getting to know you better. And really, congratulations for everything you've done.
Oh, thank you very much, Deby. And mi casa es tu casa.
Thank you. Same to you. I hope you come to Mexico very soon. Mi casa es tu casa.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.